Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the August 23rd Al-Anon readings, Encouraged to Change, and a little time for myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I will take a moment and look this over. The question is, in what ways can I practice surrendering today? And it starts off with this person saying that surrender was the most difficult concept for them. They knew that control was an illusion. During an especially frustrating situation, this person asked their higher power, "What do I do?" And immediately they heard the response that, quote, "Everyone is recovering in their own way and pace," unquote. And even though this person had heard that before, it seemed fresh and new this time. And it was a reminder to this person that they were recovering one day at a time at the pace that they were meant to recover in. Today's reminder: we can't force our own recovery or anyone else's. We can be gentle and take things one day at a time. The quote is from Courage to Change. When we stop pushing, things get better. In what ways can I practice surrendering today? Today's an interesting day because the marvelous Mr. Mittens, our dear feline friend, and truly my precious baby, is under the weather. So I was lucky enough to talk with an Al-Anon friend, and she helped to ground me and to calm down a little because she could tell that I was just in fear, worrying about my sweet baby. And even before I spoke to her, I knew well enough to get on my knees and pray for God's will for me. And to help guide me on what I should do. Was this an emergency? Is this something that can wait? I'm recording this on a Sunday, so all the veterinarians are closed. Is this an emergency or can this wait? So I like the slogan, "One day at a time." I like the reminder to call on my higher power. I know in many cases control is an illusion, especially when I'm trying to control. It's always an illusion when I'm trying to control things that are out of my control. The only thing I can really control is myself in what I think and what I do. I can't control what's happening to me, but I can control how I process what's happening to me. I will take a moment and look this over. This is about being perfectly imperfect. This is about accepting um, imperfection, accepting the fact that we all make mistakes and will continue to make mistakes. This person is saying that their perfectionistic tendencies were affecting their quality of life. They learned in Al-Anon to not be so rigid. They found relief in step 10, where we continually take our inventory and promptly admit when we're wrong. And this person says now that they live in truth, and that is very freeing for them. And this person quotes Mark Twain, quote, "If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything," unquote. Today's reminder: we can expect to make mistakes every day. When we can just admit when we're wrong, we can free ourselves of guilt and shame. And this is very good news. The quote is from Book of Common Prayer. Every failure is a reason to start fresh. I think that since I've been coming to Al-Anon, and since I've really heard so much for so long about being perfectly imperfect, about how we don't have to apologize for being human and making mistakes. So when our mistake, does harm, then we make amends and we try not to make that mistake again. But the idea of having to apologize for making mistakes, either to ourselves or to others, just like, silly things that don't hurt anybody, is something that I must have been conditioned to do, but it really isn't necessary. I love when I can just be truthful and authentic. That's why I love Al-Anon so much. I love the authenticity. I love how people are being so vulnerable about the things that they care about the most, and that they are met with nothing but acceptance and love and compassion. That is such a beautiful thing to me. And I love in today's reminder where it says that we can release guilt and shame for the idea that we're not perfect, because no one is really expected to be perfect. Not by our higher. I'm going to start again. Our higher power is not expecting us to be perfect. I think confused people may expect us to be perfect because they have their own stuff to work out, or we may put pressure on ourselves. But once we realize that that's not productive, I think it's a huge relief. We'll close out with the serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.